Wow. Hello, tiny bike enjoyers. DenDenBMX here, and for our first full-length video of the new year, I am going to sit down right here for the entire video and not even touch my bike. Why? Because I want to use today's video to address the gigantic elephant in the BMX room. And no, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about all the recent drama revolving around Sean Ricany, Team Weed, Tate Roskelley, Tyler Fernengel, helmets, bullying, all that goofy stuff that's been taking over the BMX discussion this past week or so. And originally this video was going to be a sort of rough timeline and breakdown of all the events, and I would give my thoughts about the whole meme, but I know everyone is already milking this whole thing to death, and there's really only a couple things that I want to directly talk about that I think actually matter and are important to say. I've kept up as best as I could with everything going on. I watched the entirety of Sean's podcast with BMX, and I've seen most of the posts and stories on Instagram revolving around all this drama. So I feel like I know and understand the grand majority of everything going on, and I just kind of wanted to give my outside perspective. And before I get into it, I just want to say that the only person involved in all of this that I'm really not the biggest fan of is Chase Hawk. But luckily, he's not that involved in all of this. He really only got put on blast for saying some shit that I would expect someone like Chase Hawk to say. As for everyone else, Charlie Crumlish and Team Weed have always been real chill with me. Ryan Fudger has been really cool to me the few times I've talked to him. I really like Tate Roskelley's writing. I really like Sean Ricany's writing. And Tyler Fernengel was one of my favorite writers to watch when he was in the spotlight. And to start all of this, the very first thing I want to say is Sean Ricany, my brother in Christ. Let Fudger talk. My goodness, it was hard for me to get through that whole podcast at times because Fudger couldn't get 2 words out without Sean interrupting and talking over him. Fudger, don't let people do that to you. It's your podcast. You're in control. You're the one platforming them. Don't let them come on your podcast and openly disrespect you so often like that. Like, you're in control of the microphones. Mute them if you have to, because God, I was getting annoyed for you. But besides that one little peeve I had for what was actually said during the podcast, I honestly enjoyed most of it. I really enjoyed Sean's insight and comments about his experience and criticisms with the BMX industry. I also really liked that Sean opened up and was honest about his mental health, his struggles with substance abuse, and dealing with the culture shock of being in the spotlight for however many years and then seemingly overnight being spit out and having to get a real job. I also really like that he put Chase Hawk on blast and leaked those DMs of him saying some deplorable shit. Like, based off older behind-the-scenes BMX stuff I've seen over the years, it was pretty obvious to me that Chase Hawk probably wasn't the most pleasant person to be around, and those DMs kind of just confirmed that for me. Like, it's one thing to talk shit about someone as nice as Kevin Peraza or being ableist, but blatantly flat out saying you want people to lose their paychecks just so that they can be given to you is some sleazy, slimeball, bitch-made shit. But besides all those little things, there's 2 main topics that I want to talk about in today's video. Bullying people for how they ride, and all this anti-helmet rhetoric that's been going on lately. Now, for context, this whole kerfuffle started when Sean Ricany posted a picture on Instagram of a BMX bike that had been given to him somewhat recently that he had just sawed in half. And at this point in time, now we know why he did that. It's because he was trying to send a message to Garrett Reynolds because he was mad that Garrett didn't put him on Fiend or something like that. But at the time, no one knew why he did it because there was no context. He just posted the picture without a caption, and then he deleted his Instagram. And the meme lords themselves, Team Weed, had a field day with it. Tate Roskelley was inspired. He sawed a bike in half himself, and then he did a Tate Roskelley thing with it. And everyone seemed to be having a good bit of fun with it. Well, except Sean. Sean was not very happy about all the jokes and aired out his grievances with Charlie Crumlish, who allegedly is the runner of Team Weed, and Tate Roskelley. Sean said that they were bullying him, and in return, he decided to insult the way both of them ride, saying that they aren't real BMXers and that kids shouldn't be inspired or want to ride like them because that's not real BMX. Now, I'm not one to tell anybody what they can or cannot be offended by, but I think labeling the Team Weed memes and Tate Roskelley's trick as bullying is a bit of a reach. Because while I did see comments in most of the posts revolving around this from the BMX community that could be considered bullying towards Sean, I didn't get the vibe that the Team Weed memes themselves were malicious in any way. I didn't look at those memes and see them as them bullying Sean. They didn't even mention Sean. I found out about this whole situation through the Team Weed memes, and I didn't even realize that it was Sean who sawed his bike in half until like a day or two later. I really thought we were all just laughing about the absurdity of a BMX bike being sawed in half. Like, the memes seemed to be more lightly joking about the ridiculous thing that Sean did, not necessarily bullying Sean for who he is. But nevertheless, he took it as a personal attack on himself. And it's the same thing with Tate Roskelley. He literally just posted a video of him doing one of his goofy Tate Roskelley tricks with a sawed in half bike, and in the caption he was just like, I wonder where I got this idea from. I watched that video and I don't get any malicious or bullying vibes towards Sean. Actually, shortly after Sean made that post insulting Charlie Crumlish and Roskelley for the way they ride, Our BMX posted a since deleted video clip of Sean Ricany doing a trick very much in the same style of riding that he was trying to insult and invalidate. But on that post, Tate Roskelley left a comment saying that he genuinely had no ill will towards Sean and literally just got inspired by the picture of the bike sawed in half. In my humble opinion, if anybody was actually bullying anybody, it was Sean in response to that. Because Sean's retort to his perceived slights against him was to insult and demean the way entire groups of people ride their BMX bike. And I personally think that's really goofy. Sean can be as mad at me as he wants for saying that, but it's called freestyle BMX for a reason. In freestyle BMX, there is literally no right or wrong way to ride your bike. People can literally ride however the fuck they want, and it's still real BMX. If you are on a BMX bike and you are doing a trick of literally any kind, that is real BMX. And going out trying to insult and invalidate an entire sect of BMX for the way that they ride just because you somehow managed to get offended at a meme page posting a picture of Jigsaw is goofy. Let's say that Team Weed, Tate Roskelley, literally whoever, is actually bullying you or actually coming at you or criticizing you about something. And you have to go off topic and start throwing insults about something completely unrelated in order to defend yourself. You've kind of already lost the argument. Like, it literally does not matter how good or bad you perceive someone's riding style to be. That's not related to the fact that you still sawed your frame in half, which is a silly thing to do. It's almost as silly as trying to scale or rank the way other people ride. Like, yeah, it kind of makes sense when you're comparing Sean to other people that ride like him, like Garrett Reynolds or Stevie Churchill, but trying to compare the way someone like Tate Roskelley rides to the way someone like Sean Ricany rides, and then trying to say one is objectively better than the other, is kind of like trying to compare a marshmallow to a steak and saying one of those is objectively better than the other. They're so different that it's asinine to compare them, and it's also subjective because you're going to get different answers from different people. And now, at the time I'm filming this, Sean has since explained why he cut his bike in half. But at the time this little spat was going down, all Sean said was, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and started talking shit about how they ride, instead of, oh, I don't know, maybe explaining in that moment why you cut your bike in half. I think in general, talking shit about the way anyone rides their bike is really corny, but it's kind of extra corny when you don't ride. Like, you said it yourself, Sean, you haven't ridden in like a year. I think if you're going to be insulting the way others ride, you should at least also still be riding. And it's like, what side is Sean on really? Because he contradicts himself a few times in the podcast. At some points, he's like, oh, your riding and your skill level is the only thing I really care about, and I'm so much better than all these people talking shit, so they can shut the fuck up. But then later on in the podcast, he does like a complete 180, and he's like, oh, people only know me and judge me for the way I ride a bike, but there's so much more to me outside of the bike that people don't know about. It's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, dude. It literally does not matter how good you are on the bike. And yeah, Sean is very good on the bike, but your skill and the way you act off of the bike are not correlated. So once you start trying to insult the way someone rides their bike as your arguing point, it doesn't really do anything except make you look superficial, egotistical, and hypocritical. And it's not like he was only going after the people who ride like Roskelley or Crumlish, because in the podcast, he got mad at Fudger for promoting riders on the RBMX page that rode park or basically rode in any way that wasn't real street. You're getting mad and upset because the guy who platforms and promotes riders is platforming and promoting riders that don't ride exactly the same way as you, and you don't think they deserve any recognition because of that? You're starting to sound like Chase Hawk. I don't know what to tell you, man. As much as everybody loves Garrett Reynolds, not everyone rides exactly like him. It's great if you want to try and do that, but you don't get to invalidate the rest of BMX just because they don't. Some people want to be in contests and compete. Some people want to send themselves off the biggest thing possible. Some people just want to chill on a ledge and just actually have fun riding their bike. BMX isn't actually a dick measuring contest for most people. In fact, most people got into freestyle BMX to get away from that specifically. And trying to bring that toxic competitiveness into an otherwise very chill and supporting sport is fucking lame. If you want to be cocky and competitive about the way you ride, go ride contests. One of the most common comments I saw in all these posts and videos revolving around Sean is that he has an ego and he takes himself way too seriously. I'm going to give Sean the benefit of the doubt and say that he's not actually like that, but when you're out talking the way Sean is talking, I can really understand why people would think that. Maybe that's Sean's way of hyping himself up as a way to deal with the culture shock I mentioned earlier, or maybe he really just does love the smell of his own farts. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't care. All I'm saying is Garrett Reynolds doesn't need to go on a podcast talking about how much better he is than everybody for 4 hours straight. Everybody already knows that. Nor does he feel the need to demean or insult the way others ride. And you don't need to either, Jonathan. You have done some amazing shit on a bike. You are a very talented BMX rider. No one is saying otherwise. We all know that you can hop on that brand new Fiend frame that you guilt-tripped Garrett Reynolds into giving you and still kill it. You don't need to walk around telling everybody that every single chance you get, nor do you have to insult the way others ride just to make yourself feel better. It is unbecoming, my friend, and it only serves to make you look bad and to increase the bullying in this community, which it doesn't need. The BMX community does not need a bunch of overly competitive goobers trying to talk down the way others ride as a way to deal with their own insecurities. And this is not my way of trying to talk shit or put Sean on blast. I like Sean, and I feel like I understand him a lot more after watching the podcast. And again, I don't actually think he's really that full of himself. But again, I can see why a lot of people might think he is based off the way he talks. Another thing the BMX community does not need is people insulting other people for wearing a helmet, which is the other thing that I want to talk about. I've been seeing a lot of anti-helmet rhetoric going around lately. I say that as if we're like politicians and people are like standing on a stage being like, it's all a conspiracy from Big Helmet. But no, one of the other things Sean said in his little spat towards Tate Roskelley specifically was mocking him for wearing a helmet. And later on going to say people who wear helmets live in fear. But during all of this, something else also happened that was very unfortunate. This is where Tyler Fernengel is going to come into play. Tyler Fernengel is another rider that was heavily in the spotlight of the BMX community a few years back. And Tyler posted a video of him crashing. He face planted and he kind of deleted his front teeth. He posted the crash on Instagram and was asking for donations to help fix said teeth. And that post went viral, getting millions of views, mostly because thousands of people went to the comments to borderline harass him for not wearing a helmet. And with very good intentions, Sean came to Tyler's defense, saying that a helmet would not have helped during this specific crash. And he's right. While a helmet definitely would have helped the impact he took up here on his noggin and around his brain, if Tyler Fernengel was wearing a helmet during that crash, he still would have knocked out all of his teeth. A normal BMX helmet is more than likely not going to save your teeth. So I don't think it was necessarily fair or right that he got harangued about it so much, because a helmet would not have avoided the injury that he received. So I don't think he deserved to get all of that hate that he got. Yes, he probably still should have been wearing a helmet. We all should have. You're going to hear me preach about how important wearing a helmet is, but yet there's still times where I don't wear one. And it's not because I think I'm better than anybody, and I don't think the people who wear a helmet are stupid and I'm superior to them. I am just as stupid when I'm not wearing a helmet. But the thing that got me was Sean almost tried to use Tyler's situation as more justification for just not wearing a helmet in general. And I kind of have a problem with that, because it inspired a bunch of other people to start doing the same in the comments and just kind of like everywhere throughout the community. Let's get one thing straight. Yes, nobody can force you to wear a helmet. At the end of the day, it is your choice to wear one or to not wear one. But can we please all stop pretending that it's the smart choice to not wear one? It is your choice if you want to wear a helmet or not. But let's stop acting like there is any valid or logical reason as to why you wouldn't want to wear one. Like, people always like to use the excuse to be like, oh, it's uncomfortable, I don't like the way it feels on my head, as their entire justification for not wearing a helmet. And it's like, yeah, if you don't wear one regularly and you put it on your head for like 5 seconds, you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't like the way that feels. You have to like actually wear it and get used used to how it feels on your head to get used to how it feels on your head. You can't just put one on your head for a few seconds and be like, nope, I don't like that, and then that's your entire justification for not wearing one. You do not have to wear a helmet, but don't act like you stand on any moral or intellectual high ground if you choose not to. I don't know if y'all know what CTE or repeated head trauma can do to somebody, but it's horrifying. CTE is the reason Dave Mirra isn't here anymore. CTE is the reason Chris Benoit murdered his family and then himself. CTE is the reason so many retired action or combat sports athletes have such a horrible quality of life or poor cognitive function. You only have one brain, and it is very important that you take care of it. So it kind of pisses me off when I see other people of influence openly talking down or degrading people who wear helmets. Because all that is going to do is inspire your young fans to not want to wear a helmet, which is just bad for the sport in general. The more kids that go out and crack their head open because they were riding without wearing a helmet, the more parents are going to be apprehensive about letting their kids ride BMX, which is going to harm the industry and just the general reputation of BMX as a whole. Wearing a helmet does not mean you live in fear. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. It means you are aware of how fragile yet important your brain is, and you want to keep it as safe as possible when you're out there sending yourself. And I want to be real specific here. If you're going to wear a helmet, please, for the love of fuck, get a certified helmet, because the uncertified ones are useless. That ProTech helmet that's just a squishy piece of plastic with some foam around it shouldn't even be allowed to be sold, because those flimsy pieces of shit don't actually protect you at all. You're basically wearing a helmet-shaped hat. And I know for a fact some people are going to bring up Brett Banasewicz's crash or Scotty Kramer's crash, because they were both wearing helmets when they gravely injured themselves. But I know for a fact that Brett Banasewicz was not wearing a certified helmet. He was wearing one of those squishy, shitty ProTech helmets. And I'm almost positive Scotty Kramer wasn't wearing a certified helmet either. Certified helmets literally save people's lives, and it helps vastly reduce that head trauma that can give you CTE in an older age and deplete your quality of life drastically. And wearing a certified helmet has been proven to reduce the potential head trauma that you could receive if you were not wearing one. Bashing your head repeatedly without a helmet on is going to give you CTE far more quickly than bashing your head repeatedly with a certified helmet on. So again, when you have to insult someone for wearing a helmet because you're mad that you think they were teasing you, you look like a goober. Sean, how would you like it if one of your young fans saw your comments where you're talking shit about people wearing helmets, and in turn that kid decides to go, oh, I don't want Sean to think I'm a pussy or live in fear, and they decide to go out riding not wearing a helmet, and then they accidentally turn themselves into a vegetable? No, you do not have to wear a helmet, but I think it is our duty to promote wearing one, especially to the youth. You don't have to wear one, but you also don't have to be talking shit about the people who do wear one. So Sean, I hope you realize that this video isn't necessarily a hit piece about you, nor am I trying to attack or bully you. I just simply do not agree with you bringing in and talking shit about entire sects of BMX just because you have a beef with a handful of people that you think were insulting you. If I ever meet you in person, I'm not going to act like I didn't say these things. We can have a discussion about it, or if you want to tussle, we can do that. I know what you guys mean when you and Fudger were talking about the people who will talk shit about you openly online, and then once you actually confront them, they're like, oh, hi, I'm actually a really big fan. I'm going to tell you right now, I am a fan of your writing, and I have been for many years, but I can also disagree with the things that you said. And if that pisses you off, then I'm sorry, dude. I don't know what you want from me. You can try throwing all the superficial insults you want at me, but I just want you to know that you can't tell me anything that I haven't heard 2 feet in front of the mirror. I'm sure you'll be ecstatic to know that there's yet another video talking about you and all your shenanigans, but I really didn't have a choice but to talk about you if I wanted to address the stuff that I thought was important to talk about. And I don't think you're in the wrong for standing up for yourself. I just think the way you went about it was a little lame, and I think it could have been handled better. Your words have impact, and I don't think it's necessarily smart or responsible to go around telling people to not wear helmets or to be talking shit about other people just because of how they ride. To wrap up this video, I want to quote something that cerebral palsy BMX rider over on Instagram said in one of his recent posts, because I think everyone probably needs to hear this. Let's bring love, positivity, and support back into BMX. All the negativity that is going around right now does absolutely nothing but hurt BMX as a whole. Ride how you want to ride. If you like to ride flat ledges or do more technical tricks, that's awesome. If you like to send big gaps or do flip whips, that's cool too. There are many amazing styles in BMX. That's what makes it freestyle. Just because you ride one way doesn't make you a better person or rider than someone who rides differently. If we all rode the same, BMX would be pretty boring. BMX is a sport for everyone, so let's support each other and grow/show the sport in a positive light. Keep on doing what you love. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I really hope you enjoyed. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely let me know and help the engagement on this video by leaving a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts and opinions, share the video around. If you regularly watch my channel and you haven't already subscribed, then you're a dirty little slut bitch. We are on the road to 20,000 subs, and any support towards that would be greatly appreciated. Real quick, I want to give a huge shout out to Cosmic Steez, Yana Kaminsky, Jet, A Horse Running, Jan Chocolate, and Soul Air Flare. Those are my current channel members. Their support really does mean a lot. If you want to join these guys, get a shout out in my longer video, help support the channel in a bigger way, and get access to exclusive members only videos every now and then, you can go down there, click the join button. Tiers start as low as 3 schmeckles. Or if you only want to contribute as like a one-time thing, there is a super thanks button down there. It's kind of like a little tip jar. I'm done being a tool. Thank you guys once again so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I lied earlier. I am going to touch my bike in this video. Oh yeah, that's right. I have 4-piece bars now. That means you don't have to take anything I said in this video seriously.